Welcome to episode 135. Are you feeling all of the New Year's craziness revving up around you with resolutions and goal setting and habit changes and all of that? Listen, this may be exactly what you need right now. And if that is the case, then this episode may not be for you. You're going to want to go listen to one of my past episodes on goal setting and habit shifts. But if something inside of you has been resisting resolutions and overhauling your entire life in January, we're going to talk about why you may actually need rest right now. So if that speaks to you, let's go ahead and jump right in. Welcome to Fully In It, a show for moms who are called to grow themselves while growing their families. Join me, Kate Saffel, a life and a business coach for moms, a homeschooling mama of 3, and a woman on a quest to show that our lives become even more meaningful when we remember why we are here and what truly matters most. This show is about going fully in it for you and the people you love by showing up powerfully in motherhood, entrepreneurship, in your home life, and for your family vision. Join me for weekly episodes that will inspire you to live intentionally and by your values, to slow down and truly be present to your family life, to make decisions that grow a profitable business without sacrificing anything in the process, and to become the kind of mom and woman you know you're meant to be in this lifetime. Okay, so it is officially the new year. Happy New Year to you. I have been visiting my family with my kiddos, and I have been taking advantage of this time between Christmas and really before our normal life goes back into swing with our homeschooling co-op and a lot of our community responsibilities to slow down and really go inward and just reflect on the last year and where I see things going forward. I've pulled back from social media and a lot of consumption of, other people's accounts on social media and information and all of that. And simply spending time journaling, having very slow days with my kids that have no agenda, which is like the absolute best, especially anticipating that our days are going to be way more scheduled coming up soon, and getting ahead on creating content for my business because that always feels really good to me. I'm not someone who plans like a month of content at a time. That has never been my game, but I do like knowing what I'm going to be doing the next month and having some of those pieces already created ahead of time. So one of the things that I have been working on during this little break is a brand new free 5-day training on how to balance home life and business. It's got audio drops, and it is going to be so good for you if you have really been trying to wrap your brain around like, how do I do all the things that I do? How do I balance being a mom and growing a business? Or even if you are in a traditional career or you have some other kind of work from home opportunity, this is going to be so insanely valuable for you. I think that we can all relate to the juggle that we mamas face. And my goal is that this training fully supports, encourages you, and gives you a practical strategy on like, how do I actually handle all of the things that I do with just a little bit more ease, a little bit more calm, some confidence. So keep your eye out for that to release in the next few weeks. And truly, this is just one piece of content in the 10 years that I have been creating content online. I started so many years ago. I started my Instagram account back in, I want to say 2014, when we were mentally thinking about what it would look like to travel full time. And I wanted to start following other traveling families that were doing the remote life. I didn't really know anyone in real life who was doing that. And so I turned to Instagram. And I started recording some of our weekend trips and longer trips that we were doing in our camper. And then in 2015, end of 2015, I started a podcast with my best friend Melissa called Cohesive Home. And that podcast was all about living simply and by your values. And we really poured ourselves into that for several years, recording weekly episodes, creating content on Instagram, making printables, and all these different things to support the people in our community. So it's been many, many years of me churning out content for so many different platforms, and it really is second nature for me at this point. However, I still struggle with feeling like I can focus and that I am awake enough to create content when I've been taking care of the kids all day. Like it just seems to zap my energy. And unless I'm like waking up first thing in the morning and creating content, this tends to be like an ongoing struggle for me. In the past, I would be the one like drinking a cup of coffee at like 5 p.m., trying to kind of like pep myself up to get a second shift of work done in my business, like after Kirk would come home early on. And I realized that this was like not the way I wanted to be treating my body or producing content in my business. So I don't know if that's something that you can relate to, that like when you finally have time to create content in your own business, or maybe you just love writing pieces for your social media, or maybe you have a blog or something like that, but you go to create content and then your mind is just blank. You like can't think of what to say, what to write. You struggle to focus. Maybe you're like thinking about the stuff that you could be doing around the house or what the kids need. And it's so distracting. And so I think I told you all in my last episode that the way I've problem solved for this is by drinking this green productivity shot called Magic Mind. I've been drinking this daily, and I've especially been having it right before I create content, because it helps me get in the right state of mind by giving me a boost of clean energy and more brain clarity so that I can actually focus and not be so distracted. One of the reasons why it works is because it contains Bacopa monnieri, which helps with attention span, and rhodiola rosea, which is what contributes to a clearer mind. And seeing how well this works for me, if you are also struggling with mental clarity and focus and just juggling all of the things, I would really encourage you to try it out, because it is a total game changer for us moms who are trying to do all of the things daily. The Magic Mind team created an amazing offer for me to share with you mamas. In January only, you can get 1 month free when you subscribe for 3 months, which, as you can imagine, it actually is a really huge savings. So you'll want to head to magicmind.com/JAN fully in it to get your 3rd month free. Or you can also use my discount code fullyinit20 to get up to 56% off your first subscription, or you can get 20% off your first one-time purchase. Now, here's the deal. My 56% off code only lasts 10 days, so make sure that you use it right away. And I'm going to stick the link and the code in my show notes so you can easily access it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a check-in. How are you feeling right now, truthfully, about it being 2024? Are you freaking out? Are you just glad that 2023 is over? Like, what is your mindset around it being a brand new year? Or does it just feel like maybe nothing has changed and it's just a new day, new week, same old, same old? Do you feel like you need to be making big changes, or that you should commit to becoming someone different? So I'm going to be totally honest with you about how I am feeling about the new year. It's just kind of like another week to me. Like, I'm grateful it's 2024. 2023 taught me a lot. I learned a lot of valuable lessons. I made some huge strides in 2023 when it comes to my business and it comes to how I do my home life. But truthfully, I'm not setting any resolutions. And the only goals I'm setting are my annual financial ones in my business. And then I typically break that down into quarterly goals so I know how much I want to create each quarter. But other than that, I am totally leaning back from setting any goals or resolutions. And you know what? I don't feel bad at all about it. I've spent about a decade or maybe even longer at this point being very focused on personal development and the growth that I wanted to see in myself. I've pushed myself fairly hard for a lot of years, and it had a lot of positive benefits. I'm very grateful for my journey and what I've created because I've been so disciplined. But this January, I decided that what I truly wanted was to not pressure myself to give in to all of the New Year's hoopla around goal setting and resolutions, and instead just give myself time to rest and prep for what I know will inevitably be a more busy spring and summer. So if this speaks to you and you're like, okay, Kate, I needed to hear this because I'm also feeling pressured, I want to actually give you 3 reasons why January is the best time for rest instead of resolutions. So here's the first one. Seasonally, January falls into the northern hemisphere winter, which means that our bodies are designed to naturally slow down and follow the lead of the plants and the animals that go dormant or hibernate and slow down in the winter. And so that whole New Year's vibe of drinking green juices and doing HIIT workouts and changing all of your habits at once is truly, it's better suited for the summer season when you have abundant energy and daylight to fuel the shifts that you want to make. Now, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, now is actually a time that would make a ton of sense for you to be setting your goals and thinking about increasing the intensity of what you're doing. But, again, if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, it is actually biologically correct for you to slow down and be in a period of rest right now. So for me personally, I am all about the cozy blankets, the warm drinks, journaling and reflecting, lighting candles, just moving more slowly through my day and not pushing myself. It's taken me a lot of years to learn this, but I've really recognized that our bodies aren't meant to go 24/7 year round, year after year after year after year. We do need downtime. We need to slow down and then we speed up, and then we can slow down again and then we can speed up again. But to go year round hard, it's just not easy on the body. And so for this season of life and really just the actual season of it being winter, I'm not in a push season. And if that speaks to you, I want that to be your permission that you also get to slow down and release any pressure that you are feeling. There is nothing wrong if your body is so entirely craving rest and just slowing down. Additionally, we're coming off of the holidays, right? I don't know how your holidays were. Ours were actually pretty peaceful and calm, which was exactly what I wanted. But for many people, it is a time of overindulging, undersleeping, and falling off of your well-maintained habits. So when we whiplash ourselves on January 1st and suddenly vow to change everything overnight, it's not actually a healthy or sustainable response to do so. Now, if you've kept up with good habits all year and you're only making micro changes, that's totally cool. Your body will be able to sustain that. But to go from, sleeping in daily as late as your kids would let you and staying up until midnight binging Netflix to suddenly vowing that you're going to get up at 4:30 a.m. every morning, well, that is going to be tough on your body and your mind. Our minds tend to resist any changes that are so dramatic that they come across as dangerous. And I know we've talked about this on the podcast before, but our brains really prioritize the comfort zone. This is that area of safety that your brain deems as acceptable for your behaviors and your actions. And if you do something that's really far outside of your comfort zone, let's say you're not a runner and then all of a sudden you decide you're going to go out and run 10 miles, your brain is going to freak out because it's going to perceive that as being dangerous. So if you want to make a habit change stick, the best thing you can do is actually make your changes very small and incremental, because it's just slowly turning up the heat instead of like immediately taking it to that boiling point and then your body and your brain freaks out. The final reason why you may want to choose rest is if your body is telling you it needs rest, right? Like it can be as simple as that. And I know that there is so much noise in our culture around rest, right? There's stories around like, if you rest too much, you're lazy, you're not motivated, you don't want it enough, right? It can be quite negative, but there's a big disconnect that happens when your body is shouting at you for rest and you ignore those signals. Believe me, I have done this many times to myself and it never works out. And often if your body is asking you for rest and you keep pushing, it typically will lead to you burning out harder and needing an even longer rest period to recover. So we need to just all recognize and decide that rest is actually good. It's necessary. Everybody rests, right? We think about kids, like little kids, if they don't get their naps in, if they don't go to bed on time, they're a total nightmare the next day because they need sleep. But for whatever reason, as adults, we decide like, oh, I can get away with not resting that much, with pushing my body really hard. I'll just drink more coffee. I'll eat more sugar. I'll do all these things to try to get my body to perform. But eventually, the body gets tired and it wears out. So if you are in a season of needing more rest, I promise you that doesn't make you lazy. I know for me personally that if I allow myself to rest and I just listen to that need, then I eventually feel satisfied with rest. My creativity and my energy spikes. I have new ideas and tons of motivation. So you get to trust that cyclical cycle of your body and just know that even if you feel tired right now and you're craving rest, it's not going to stay that way if you actually take care of you. And I want to be totally clear that you can rest and still keep up on your stuff. I'm not advocating that you take time off and you do nothing. Rest as a mom will look very different for us than it does for other people. And I know it's like not fair, right? Like you try to like lay down and the kids are climbing all over you and asking you for things. So you may have to get creative about what rest actually looks like for you. I know for me, I've just really found a lot of value in going and laying down in my bed in the middle of the afternoon. And even if I don't fall asleep, just having that time to be horizontal has been so good for me to get my energy kind of sustained so that I can then get through the evening part of my day. But I want you to give yourself permission for your season of rest to look like however it needs to look. Build the belief that by prioritizing rest, you'll actually build the life and the habits you want more effectively and sustainably. So if you're going to choose rest in January, I want you to do it very intentionally, meaning you're going to think about how this time is going to be nourishing to you and set you up for future periods of growth. So we're really like building that belief around the value of rest so that you don't feel guilt, when you're like taking this time for you and then your brain kicks in and it's like, well, you should really be doing something. You are going to remind your brain of why this is so valuable to you. So you want to ask yourself, what boundaries do you need to set so that you can protect your rest? Are there certain books that you have had on your list that you want to focus on reading during this time? Are there meals that you would love to eat that would also encourage you to slow down and feel a little bit more cozy? And then also, how do you want your home to feel for you and your family as you collectively slow down? And again, this could be for a week. It could be for a month. It can be for whatever you need, but I would just really check in with you and pay attention to where you're at. My guess is that you'll eventually feel a shift in your energy where you're going to feel really excited to make some bigger changes in your life, set some goals, and make some big leaps forward. And wouldn't it just be freaking amazing to have great energy as you do that? Okay, so that is it for today. I hope that this episode encouraged you. I'm so grateful that you spent this time with me, and I hope you're doing amazing. I will see you on the podcast next week.